Welcome, this is Jennifer McGuire. I am really excited about today's video because it is a technique that you can do with absolutely any stamps you may have. However, the stamps that I use today are new favorites of mine and I think you'll really like them. So the design is actually a split design where you create two pieces, cut them apart, and then glue them together to get the split look. This is a great way to make multiple cards, which you'll see me do today. And by the way, be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to show you this quick bonus card using a lot of the same products. So all of the stamps that I'm using are actually from Honeybee Stamps. A few weeks ago, I posted the video that you see there up on the top right using the Blessed stamp set with a bunch of sentiments that you can put together with bless, blessings, bless, or blessed. So now they have coordinating dies. So you can see the dies match up with the large blessings word, and I think that is fantastic. I'm really excited about this. You can see how excited I am. So that is new, and they also came out with some new word sets, including this one for kind, and you can put together lots of different sentiments with this. The exciting thing about this stamp set is that Honeybee Stamps is donating 25% to the Kind campaign, which is an anti-bullying campaign that I really like, and so is Simon Says Stamps. So if you buy from either of those places, you'll be helping that great cause. They also have the coordinating dies for the Kind set available, and they have the prayer stamp set. So if you're like me and like prayer sentiments, lots of things you can team up together with this set and the coordinating die set. So they're sold separately, but you can buy both and use them together. When Honeybee came out with the first Blessing stamp set, I emailed them and begged them for more because I think this is brilliant. You can create so many sentiments out of one stamp investment. This is a great one. It has Smile on it. It's a smaller set. I like that you can put together unique phrases, including sending you a hug and a smile, a lot of different things, and there is a coordinating die available also. So you could use the dies together with the stamp set or alone. In addition, Honeybee Stamps has come out with this one sentiment stamp set here that has a bunch of words that team up nicely so you can get even more out of the sentiments that I just showed you. And again, 25% of the profits from the Kindness stamp set and die set will be donated to the Kind campaign to end bullying. So it's a great way to shop for a cause. You need to shop at Honeybee Stamps or Simon Says Stamps for that, and I will provide all the information over my blog, so be sure to check that out. I think it is wonderful that both of these companies are making this donation and doing this for a good cause. It says a lot about their great character. Okay, let's go ahead and create the cards that you see here. I'm going to create 6 cards today, but you could do this with just 2 if you wanted to. So I have my MISTI stamping tool, which is helpful for this technique. And then I have some pink, yellow, and pool cardstock, and also white cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have 3 colors of embossing powder that perfectly match the colors of cardstock that I'm using. You could use any embossing powders for this technique. You just want to make sure that your cardstocks match your heat embossing. Okay, so I have put my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of white cardstock into my MISTI right up into the corner, and I'm positioning my kindness word right in the center. Then I close my MISTI. This ensures that every time I stamp that kindness, it'll be positioned in the exact same spot on all of these pieces of cardstock. Okay, so you're going to be seeing me make a bunch of cards here because that's just what I do. But you just want to be sure to do the same stamping on each of them, and you'll see that as we come together. So I use my anti-static powder tool. I recommend doing that anytime you heat emboss. I put some yellow cardstock in there in the corner, and now I'm stamping the kindness with Versamark ink. Now on all the colored pieces of cardstock, I'm going to heat emboss with white powder. I like the bright white finish of the Hero Arts white embossing powder. Now to save time, I'm not heat embossing it each time. Instead, I am going to go ahead and stamp and add the powder to each of these. Then I will heat them all up at once. That is a great way to save time. So just go ahead and stamp, put on your powder, and set it aside. Once you've done all your stamping and adding of the powder, you can go ahead and heat set them all at once. Okay, so now it's time for our white cardstock. On the white cardstock, I'm going to use colored embossing powder, whatever colors I have to match the cardstocks that I use. So here I have stamped kindness with Versamark ink, and I'm going to put the pink embossing powder on this. On the other white cardstocks, I'll use a yellow embossing powder or the pool embossing powder. I love the results on these cards that they have that raised embossing look, but you could save a lot of time by just using colored ink and skipping the embossing if you wanted to. So on this one, I'm going to put on the pool embossing powder. And again, I'm going to wait to heat set this until I have them all done, and I'll heat set them all at once. That saves a lot of time when you're mass producing cards with heat embossing. This yellow powder is really pretty on the white. It's hard to see in the video. Okay, so I went ahead and heat set all of these, and what I ended up with, I kind of narrowed it down. I have a pink heat embossed, a yellow heat embossed, and a pool. Then I have my 3 pieces of colored cardstock heat embossed with white. So we're going to end up with 6 cards when we're done. Okay, so I decided I wanted to do clusters of these cute little flowers from a honeybee stamp set in the top corner and bottom corner of each of these pieces. You could save a lot of time by using bigger images, but I really liked these flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and position my first one in the corner, and I'm also going to position the words that build around the sentiment. So I just put them right onto my white cardstock piece where I want them. Make sure the white cardstock piece is positioned in the corner every time. Close the door, and then I know that that stamp is positioned correctly. You could use other stamp positioners for this, or an acrylic block, but you can see how the MISTI really saves you a lot of time. Okay, so I'll admit I'm a little obsessive. I like my flowers to be stamped very close together or overlapping slightly. That's why you see me only doing a few flower stamps at once. That way I can stamp them and then do the other one really close. If I put 2 stamps together close, there will be a gap. But this way, I'm just doing a few at a time, and I'm just going to slowly build up everything. So I am stamping with Versamark ink on all of these pieces. On the color cardstock, again, I'm just doing white embossing. And on the white cardstocks, I'm doing the colored embossing. Again, I'm going to do all of the adding of the powder and then heat set them all at once. By the way, I find it very helpful to work over coffee filters. It's a great way to contain your powder. So there you can see the first step in the process. So now I can just start building up my flowers and my leaves around this. So you see me kind of playing around with it. This is one of the fun things about using a stamp positioner is you can position your stamps exactly where you want it, play around with it as much as you want, and once you have the position correctly, you can go ahead and close the door on your MISTI and start your stamping. To save time, I like to go through and put my anti-static powder tool on each of the pieces so that they're ready to go for each step along the way. I think it's really important to use an anti-static powder tool anytime you heat emboss because it keeps everything looking clean. And since we're doing bold colors here, we want to keep it nice and clean. So now that I'm moving along, you can see how I'm putting all my flowers kind of overlapping and close together. I turn my MISTI around sometimes so I can stamp on the bottom of the card if I need to. But the more times you go through this, the more stamps you can put down each time as you kind of build your scene. Again, you could just stamp all these flowers with an acrylic block in the corner and save some time. But since I was making so many cards, I found this to be the best way to do it. Okay, so I also wanted to show you a little cheating method that I like to do with heat embossing and masking. So I wanted some leaves to really overlap with flowers. You see right there? That leaf overlaps with the flowers. Now when I stamp that with Versamark ink, it will overlap with the flower, and when I put the powder on, there will be some heat embossing powder over my original flower. I did not want to take the time to cut out a flower mask. So here's my trick. See where that powder overlaps the flower? I just go ahead and brush it off before I heat set it, and nobody will ever know that you cheated. So that saved me the time of having to cut a mask for that flower. That's one of the advantages of doing heat embossing here, is that I can fake my masking by brushing off the powder before I heat set it. Just brush away any powder that overlaps. Okay, so I completed all the heat embossing on each of these pieces, and you can see that all of the embossing images are in the exact same spot on each piece. So now I'm going to take the 2 pink that go together, and I'm going to hold them together nicely, and I'm going to cut both at the same time right across the word kindness. This is going to create that split card design. So I'm going to take the pink on the top of one and the white on the top of the other, and look at how they line up so nicely together. It creates such a cool effect. And then I can use the other for another card. This is such a fun way to kind of get a new look out of stamps you may have. And I was doing a happy dance there. I was really excited with how these turned out. Okay, so now I've got the 2 yellow pieces together, the yellow cardstock and the yellow heat emboss piece, holding them together nicely, cutting right down the middle, and then we can do the same with those. Now you'll notice that my pool embossing powder didn't really match my pool cardstock, and I wish I would have tested it out first. The embossing powder kind of changed colors when I heat set it. I encourage you to test it out first because it really looks much better if your embossing powder matches your cardstock perfectly. If you don't have colors of embossing powder, you could just use colored ink. Okay, so now it's time to glue this all onto a card. I'm gluing it onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch white note card. So I'm putting one on the top and then the other matching piece on the bottom. You'll want to use some strong adhesive here just to make sure that they line up nicely together and you don't have any gaps, because there might be a little warping to the paper caused by the heat embossing. Now all of this should line up nicely since we stamped the same images in the same spot on each of these pieces. However, if they don't and you have some edges hanging off, just trim them with your trimmer and nobody will ever know. And there you have a very simple looking card design that's really kind of fun and a great design that you can use with any stamps you have. And again, you can save time by skipping the embossing. Okay, so there we have the coral. I can't decide if the coral is my favorite or the yellow. The yellow is beautiful in real life. And I love the texture that you get with the heat embossing. I think it would be really fun to do a set of note cards as a gift using this technique. So you could do a bunch of different colors of the rainbow and have these kind of classy looking cards. You can change up the sentiments because there are so many different sentiments in the stamp sets that I used here. I also wanted to add just some embellishments to this, but I wanted to keep them pretty flat. So I decided just to add tiny little dots here and there. I wanted it to be the matching embossing powder, so I used a quickie glue pen to make little dots here and there on my card. And then I put on the embossing powder that I needed and heat set that. So you can actually create little designs or details of embossing powder using your quickie glue stick. It just takes a little bit extra heat. So here you can see the little dots that I added in the colored embossing powder and in the white embossing powder. It really makes a big difference to kind of pull everything together. So there you have like a split card design that you could use with anything you have. I encourage you to check out the kindness stamp set and dies that I talked about today because the money goes to a good cause. I think that's really important. Now, I also wanted to show you one more example because that's just what I do. I wanted to show you something with the prayers, die, and stamp set and a little trick that I did. I used the same flower stamp set I showed you before. Remember, they're small flowers. But look at what I did. I stamped a small flower and I kind of added my own little doodly petals onto it to make a bigger flower. So some of these stamp sets that are like this, that look hand-drawn, you can kind of change up yourself. I am not an artist by any means, and if I can do this, I am sure that you can too. So I did the same flowers on there. I did some quick coloring with Copic markers and added some shimmer with my Wink of Stella. I did a prayers die from Honeybee in the center with some glitter paper, and I stamped the thoughts and above that with the Honeybee stamp set. So there's just another example I wanted to just throw in there for you to check out. If you are interested in the products that I talk about here and want to find out about the donation behind these stamp sets, you can check below in my YouTube description or go over to my blog at jennifermcguireinc.com for much more information. In the middle are 2 other videos to check out. The first is using the Blessed stamp set from Honeybee, and the other is another idea for creating a card design using a large sentiment. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll return again soon and have an incredible day.